All right, welcome to week 27 of the Design Arama. This week we're going to be focusing on, I think, what we're calling prototyping mastery. And, when you look at these 5 tasks, it will be somewhat about prototyping mastery. That these are 5 tasks that are 5 and maybe a much larger body of things that you could do. Some of them speak to refinement of skills. Some of them may be exploring something new. But regardless of how you look at it, they are all, I would approach them all from the perspective of not necessarily perfection, but refinement of the task. And there are a handful where it may be more exploratory, just depending on your background. But regardless, do focus on prototyping and sort of the spirit of it. So in this case, and I think there are 4 resources I'll share this week. One is the same from last week, the UI Design Patterns for Successful Software. It's a course in IXDF in 24 hours, 21 minutes over 8 weeks is roughly how long it'll take. It just depends on your experience, but really great course. Designing for voice interfaces, that's one of the tasks this week. The usability testing course, so also a really great course, maybe a little bit shorter, but excellent course to take if you want to refresh your skills or you have no exposure to usability testing. And the last is a topic on usability testing, which will provide a tremendous amount of information to support you in that path. And there's also a link here to user research methods and best practices, also just another really great course to get you started. And those are linked under each one of these, but I just wanted to show you them all now, just so we don't repeat it throughout the video. Day 1 is realistic animation, so prototype a micro interaction animation for a mobile app. This could be a button press, screen transition, loading state. Keep it simple, focus on timing, easing, and clarity. And your output should be an animated prototype snippet. So produce this in some sort of animation to show it off, but also have that prototype available. So, we'll have this ability to share our prototype links with external audiences, and it may be good to have that built. If you're skilled in it and you can produce it in HTML, CSS, JavaScript, maybe a fun thing to do too, to show off some development skills and get people interactivity that they can play with. But regardless of how you look at it, this is one where I would say if you have experience building these, focus on refinement of animation. Really think heavily about the timing, the easing, the clarity, the different states, and make it something that's super crisp and refined. Day 2, interactive component library. And I would say to keep this relatively small, right? It says create a small reusable component library in your prototyping tool. Buttons, cards, input fields, and navigation. You could certainly do all of those. And the other way you may approach this is to find something that you would like to redesign and design all the components that are necessary for it. So first thing that came to mind was Mayhem Marketplace, right? They have these, it's similar to other independent storefronts or collective independent storefronts where people are selling their own produced goods. So for instance, this card has this animated background where the image pans up and down, has this hover state. It has these little tags that categorize things. It has sort of a primary, secondary, tertiary, click target, the ability to save it, text information, It has all these different areas and clickable things and animations. And this may be an opportunity to go and just design all of those individual components, make definitions for them. So this top animated area, this text block, how the text block's broken down into the separate components, and define all of those. So rather than start from a design library perspective, start with a component and start fleshing out your design library by building that component. and then breaking it down its component parts and define all of the individual components and also the variations that come in there, including hover states on all of these. You can see how they're slightly different. Work on consistency by producing the hovers, press, and expanded states on the buttons or clickable areas. And, at the end of the time, you'll have this mini component set with interactivity baked in. And then maybe, if you were to go this sort of second route, you'll have a representative component that shows them off working in tandem. Day 3 is the voice interaction feature. So prototype a voice interaction input response feature inside your app. Again, if you've never done this before, I would say go to the link here and review how to design voice user interfaces. There's a lot to consider, if not just the foundation of how do you activate it and how do you deactivate it. How does the system respond when it's activated? How does it conclude the conversation? How does it think about the concept of privacy? It's a big topic in voice-activated features. And some examples here: add to cart, track my order, when is this thing going to arrive? Show how your experience both listens and responds visually as well as through audio. And your output here would be a clickable voice interaction demo with mock audio or captions. You may also have a storyboard associated with this, and that may be a way that you get to it. But definitely check out the article if you've never designed one before and think through how to build this out. I would say keep it relatively simple if you've never done it before as well. I think there's a lot to consider in building these out for. Day 4, multi-screen prototype. So build a multi-screen flow, 3 to 5 screens, for a food delivery app. This could be in this particular flow. So browse, select the item, check out, confirm. There could be a review cart step if you wanted to build it out to 5. Tie in your animations and component library from days 1 and 2. And, at the end of the day, you'll have an clickable prototype of the flow. There's also an opportunity to try to include your voice design in here as well. And then the last day, test and iterate. So run a quick usability test with 3 users, share your prototype, note where users succeed or struggle, make at least one iteration based on findings, and maybe update your prototype and include 2 to 3 bullet notes on what changed and why. So it would be good to show the outcomes from this particular exercise. So that is the quick summary of week 27 of the Design-orama. Should be, as always, a fun one. And if you have any questions or if you need any assistance, just speak out in Discord and I'll do my best to help you out. Otherwise, look forward to seeing what you produce.